May I come in?
Hey guys, what's up? How are you doing? Welcome to the Nerd Fam, and today in this video I will be sharing with you two important accidents that took place in this month of 2020 alone. First case is going to be an aircraft accident which took place in a place called Kozhikode, which is in Kerala. Second one is going to be the blast of Lebanon. If you want to know something that's happening around you in a very detailed manner, consider subscribing my channel and press the bell button on. So without wasting time, come on, let's go into the video. So let me try to explain to you what is the geography of this Calicut International Airport. This is basically a tabletop airport. So what do we mean by this word tabletop? So let me give you a simple trick. Replace this word table by the word mountain. So it becomes mountain top. So these kind of tabletop airports will be above the surface of a mountain. So it is like we have a mountain here, and if we cut its upper portion and have an airport there, it is known as the tabletop airport. Imagining that you would have understood the word tabletop. So here is the airport. So it is obvious that either of the side must be a valley, because if a flight has to take place, there shouldn't be any obstacles. If there is a mountain in this place, how will a flight take off? So obviously either of the side of a tabletop airport must be a valley, so that it will be easy for the flight to actually take off. There are 3 to 5 tabletop airports in India, and in Kerala, this Kozhikode International Airport has the smallest runway. That is, the length of the runway in this airport is very small compared to any other airport. So having understood the geography of the airport, now let us dive into the aeroplane and see what's happening inside. This aeroplane had an onboard number of 190 passengers, which includes a commander and a co-pilot and crew members. So the main commander pilot is a person who was an ex-wing commander in Indian Air Force. It is obvious that he would have operated much harder flights in much harder times, and he has an experience of about 30 years, his mom says. This flight was from Dubai to Kozhikode, which is in Kerala, on the purpose of Vande Bharat mission to bring back Indians who are outside India during this time of critical pandemic. Now let me try explaining to you what actually took place on the Friday night around 7:30 to 7:40 p.m. So imagining this as the airport and this as the flight which is coming from the Dubai to the Kozhikode International Airport. Around 7:30 p.m. this flight was heading towards the landing, and its pilots received commands from the controller room that they must be landing on runway number 28. Okay, runway number 28. So the pilots accepted the order and they were heading towards landing, and when they were about 2500 or 2000 meters away from the runway number 28, they did not see exactly the runway clearly. That is, they didn't have the clear vision of runway. So what they did is they replied to the conway room that we are again taking off from this 2500 meters, and I'm trying to land in some other runway. So please assign me some other runway so that I could land there possibly. All at a sudden, the controller room assigned these pilots runway number 10 instead of runway number 28. So let me clarify this again. The flight is coming towards runway number 28. At about 2500 meters, they couldn't see what is actually in front of them. So they are replying to their control room that they must be given some other runway. So the control room responds, and they are again taking off from 2500 meters, and they are going away and taking a U-turn and again coming from runway number 10 in the opposite direction. First they were coming from this way, and now they have gone here and they are taking a U-turn and coming from the opposite direction in runway number 10, which is the newly assigned runway for these two pilots to land their flight safely. But what actually happened is they accelerated much more than what should they have. Coming towards runway number 10, the place where they should actually land is this, but due to over acceleration, what happened is the flight went till this place. Can you actually understand what I'm telling you? The flight must have landed here, landed here, but due to over acceleration it went till this place. So as I said earlier, already this runway is very short in Kozhikode International Airport. So what happened is, due to much lesser airport runway, the flight couldn't take a control of its brake. What happened is it skid away and fell in a valley which is behind the runway of this airport. One thing I forgot to mention you is that the weather condition in Kozhikode International Airport was very drastic that day. It was heavily raining, and 7:40 p.m. you could imagine that it would have been much more darker in rainy days. So the pilots didn't have a clear vision of what's in front of them. They were landing actually in an assumption. This is actually a place where only experienced pilot can land, and this pilot had landed about 27 times in this international airport. Possibly the other factor which led their aircraft to skid is that there is something that happens during rainy days. Imagining that a flight is coming over here, if water is struck between the runway and the flight's wheel, what will happen is that the braking system of the flight will not be able to function 100%. So as you know, already the flight is coming much more faster than what it should have, and due to this problem the flight is not able to stop at a correct place, and it skids off to a valley which is 35 feet long, 35 feet in height, and breaks into two parts. This accident met with a casualty of about 18 persons who died in the spot itself. This includes both the pilot and the co-pilot. The pilot is the man who is 58 years old, and he is actually returning back to Calicut to see his mom after a year. And the co-pilot is a man who is 30 years old, and he is having his wife pregnant, who is going to give birth to a child in 15 days time. Even though it is a sad incident for all of us, one thing I wanted to appreciate is the commander pilot, the brave man who took his brave decision to land in an alternate runway so that he prevented the flight from blasting. If the flight would have blasted, we would have lost all of the passengers who traveled on board. But luckily, this brave man took his bold decision with his experience and all to land the flight and minimized the casualty number, and unfortunately he lost his life. There is something called engineered materials arresting system. What this does is, this is actually installed in the runway path. In these kind of emergency cases, if a flight over accelerates, this equipment will stop the flight from going beyond the runway. But this is not installed in Kozhikode International Airport. The authorities related to this have insisted the officials to install the Kozhikode International Airport, but due to several reasons which I actually don't know, this engineered materials were not installed in Kozhikode International Airport. At this point in time, I really wanted to ask you all a question. Do you think this is the problem in the pilot or with the officials who didn't take appropriate measures to handle this Kozhikode International Airport in a safer way? What do you think? Please leave it in your comments. Now coming to the second most important drastic accident which took place in a place called Beirut, which is the capital of Lebanon. For all those who don't know where Lebanon is situated, this is situated in the Middle East between Israel and Syria. So this is actually a small country. What actually happened on Tuesday 6 p.m. is, in the port of Beirut, suddenly a massive blast took place which was initially considered as an earthquake. This had a magnitude of 3.3. Next, when people were recovering from this first blast, suddenly a second blast took place which was about 2 to 3 times more massive than the first one. During this, the blast sound was heard even in North Israel. How this blast took place and what is the reason behind this blast taking place is not yet clear till now, but the officials from the government side say that in the year 2013 they seized ammonium nitrate compound which is heavily explosive. It is mainly used in agriculture and in mining, where they use this as explosive to bake their coals or something. From the year 2013, these 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrates were stored in the Beirut's port, which suddenly would have blasted. This is the first stage investigation which have been submitted from the official side, but what really happened is not yet clear from the government of Lebanon. It is said that about 154 people died at the spot and more than 4,000 casualties. The hospital were overflooding. Do you think the number 2020 is the reason behind all these incidents happening? Comment it below. We have launched a Discord server exclusively for the nerd fam and for me and nerd fam to stay connected forever virtually. So we are actually going digitalized and nerd fam is getting digitalized. For all those who don't know what the Discord server is and how to use it, I have prepared a video for this exclusively for you and I'm going to upload it very soon. The purpose of this Discord server is super cool actually. I am starting something called as nerD Daily in the Discord server exclusively for the nerd fam, and I will be uploading either a photo or a text or a video which will be very short actually on what's happening around us on a daily basis. Daily 6 to 8 pm I will be uploading this in the Discord server only. The second purpose is for the nerd fam to interact with each other, to interact with the other nerd fam members. I have really super cool structured nerd fam Discord server. More about this is coming soon in a new video. Until then, stay tuned. I have left the link for the Discord server in the description. Go press it and join. Meet you in the Discord. Until then,